Hi everyone. Welcome to the first episode of the AI Best Business Show. A show I decided to start because I'm interested in investing, startups, tech, and anything that's related to business in general. On this show, I'll be interviewing founders, investors, and any businessman that has achieved some success. Plus, I'll be doing a show once a week where I'll be explaining a topic I learned about through reading on Twitter, watching videos, and reading about startups or meeting someone new or reading a book that I learned something new from about business. I'll be speaking in a mix between Arabic and English. And in today's show, I want to speak about what's happening in the market. So, اللي صار عنا إنه من what's happening in the market in terms of stock market crashing, crypto market crashing, startups ما عم بيقدروا to raise money anymore or are having difficulty in raising money. What basically happened, and I'm going to be using resources from Craft Venture Investors presentation to their founders, which is David Sachs, and a tweet from David Sachs, in addition to a YC letter that YC sent to its founders. Let's start with something. قبل COVID, or at the start of COVID, people قعدوا ببيوتهم. And what happened لما people قعدوا ببيوتهم, governments بأوروبا وبأمريكا started giving money out to people. صاروا يعطوا مصاري للناس, stimulus checks to keep the economy moving. But what happened when the government started giving money, which is free money, people started having money they didn't have before. يعني أنا اليوم بقبض من دولة مصاري ما كان عندي إياها من قبل. يعني زادوا مصرياتي. طيب هاي المصاري اللي أنا ما عندي إياها شو عم بعمل فيها؟ عم بشتري فيها أغراض. I'm buying new stuff. I'm buying new cars. I'm buying new items. I'm buying new brands. I'm buying stuff in the stock market. I'm using this free money to buy stuff I wouldn't have bought before. يعني أنا عم بستعمل هالمصاري لحتى أشتري قصص أنا ما كان عندي إياها من قبل. لما صار هيدا الشيء صار في more demand، يعني صار في طلب أكتر على الأسواق إجمالا. لما يصير في طلب أكتر رح يصير عنا غلا، رح يصير في inflation. لما يصير في inflation رح يصير في a hike in interest rate. Interest rate فايدة. Interest rate has been going down for the past 10, 15, 20 years maybe, and down or going flat. Recently مع inflation that's happening صار عنا a hike in interest rate. I'll be sharing this table over here. And this shows us where we're at in terms of a hike in interest rate. In addition to that, this hike in interest rate has caused سبب إنه الstock market to crash. عشان in general the stock market moves بعكس interest rate, which has caused a lot of stocks for different companies like كتير شركات إنه ينقص الفاليو تاعولن. بسبب هيدا الشيء ودايما لنربط شيء إنه دايما whatever happens in the public market affects private markets and affects VCs, affects investors, affects private startups. After this happened in the public market, this crash in crypto and stock market, we saw a lot of hedge funds مثل Tiger Global get hit. صار عندهم big losses. And other funds had the same thing too. Now لنحكي شوي عن startups. Before قبل COVID, can startup would go and raise money every 2 years to 3 years, depending on the startup and how much they're growing. لما اجى COVID صار في كتير money بقلب السيستم. So investors had more money to spend, had more money to invest. VC, venture capitalists, big funds had more money to spend in startups. So they were spending and they were investing in different startups who sometimes ما كان عندهم product market fit. اليوم بعد ما صار عنا هذا الكراش بالكريبتو ماركت وبالستوك ماركت، بعد صار عنا inflation. في a lot of the money in the system got wiped out of the system. رجعنا the days before COVID, which هن you could call them the normal days. مش any startup could raise money anymore that fast. And David Sachs and Craft Ventures in their presentation that they gave بفرجونا شيء إنه the criteria of startups who could raise money. You could still raise بس البار يعني الطريق your expectations are higher. And they label them by great, good, and danger zone. To be a great startup فيك تروح دغري to get funding. بدك تكون you're going 3 times year over year. عندك gross margins high, أرباح عالية. عندك a low burn multiple يعني ما عم تخسر زباين كتير وما عم تصرف كتير مصاري. من ورا هيدا الشيء حيلا ستارت اب اليوم لازم تفكر بكذا شغله. اذا بتقدر to raise money on an older valuation like startups every 24 months تتغير قيمتهم تعلى قيمتهم. اليوم عم بقولوا لك اذا انت جيت اليوم وكان حدا انفستر بده to invest in you at your old valuation على قيمتك القديمه go ahead and raise this money. لانه it's gonna be hard to raise money in the future. You're gonna need 2 to 3 years to raise money. تاني شيء بدك تطلع انت your runway يعني قد ايه الستارت اب عندها مصاري بقلب البنك. بتشوف هيدا الشيء وبتحسب انت your runway. بدك تحسب in your mind على 30 month runway يعني على 3 سنين runway. وبيست on this اذا انت شايف هالمصاري اللي عندك اياها اللي انت you raised ما بتضاينك ل3 سنين بدك تروح to modify your hiring plans, stop hiring, act fast, trim your burn يعني قلل انت قد ايه عم تصرف كستارت اب بالشهر وركز على المشاريع اللي بتجيب لك ارباح عاليه بقلب your startup. Next, I'm gonna share what YC send out to its founders. And YC اللي ما بيعرف شو هي YC هي it's an incubator يعني هن بيجيبوا startups they invest in them. Airbnb was part of YC. They invest in them لحتى يصيروا startups كبار و they help them, they guide them to grow their startups. It's a program to help your startup grow. They sent this letter to all their founders لكل حدا مرق عندهم بالprogram telling them the following. أول شيء إنه the economy is bad and things don't look good. وهذا الشيء اللي حكينا عنه إنه صار في inflation عندنا crash بالstock market. We're kind of in a recession. Recession يعني نحن ب 2 terms Q1 Q2 stock market is down. So عم بقولوا لهم plan for the worst. خططوا لأسوأ شيء ممكن انتم تحسبوه براسكم. كمان رجعوا عادوا النصيحة اللي قبل إنه إذا قادرين to raise on an old valuation go ahead and do that. إذا مش قادرين to raise in the next 24 months في احتمال كبير إنكم ما تقدروا to raise and to maybe shut down your start and not be able to move on again. من ورا الايكونوميك داون تيرن هذا اللي حكينا عنه من ورا اللي عم بيصير بالببليك ماركت VCs venture capitalists عم يخففوا القيمة اللي عم they're investing in and they're investing less and they're investing on a longer period of time يعني من during COVID كان a fund اللي هو لنقول a fund has $50 million they were investing it in 1 year. اليوم هال $50 million they're investing it over 3 years. Last thing I want to go back to is a tweet I read from David Sachs. He's the founder of Yammer. He's one of the founders of PayPal. And he's an investor in Craft Ventures. He repeats the same thing اللي كنا عم نحكي عنه هلا إنه startups if you can't grow يعني إذا ما عم تقدر تكبر سنة ورا سنة ما عم تقدر to raise your تصير profitable ما عم تقدر تجيب customers أكتر then go ahead and cut يعني cut expenses حتى تصير معك enough money to keep on running. The last thing I want to say, as a startup, don't aim to raise money, don't build to raise money from investors. Build to be a profitable startups. يعني حيلا ستارت اب حيلا فاوندر ما يروح ويفكر انه انا حببني هيدي الشركه، حببني هيدي الشركه الناشئه، هي الستارت اب حتى get money from investors. انا حببني هي الشركه الناشئه تخليها شركه مربحه، تخليها شركه عم تطلع مصاري. لما هي الشركه تكون عم تطلع مصاري وتكون فكرتها حلوه، investors will come to you without you going to them. Everything I said in the video is not an investment advice. It's my opinion. It's how I understood whatever I read this week. Thank you for watching the episode, and let me know if you have any questions. Thank you.